Okay, YouTube should be receiving that. I'm not seeing it there, but... And I think we're live. Okay, we should be live now. So, just wait for a few people to start watching and then we can get on and do this live stream. Alright, so let's test up the cameras, make sure the cameras are working. Okay, we seem to have a bit of a problem here. It's not changing the different camera angles. I don't know why. Oh no, never mind, that was just a bit of a lag in the thing. And what the hell is that other camera seeing? I'm sure I don't want to see that. Right. Okay, let's see what Obrius. Right, so welcome. Now I've got everything fixed. Well, I've got all the... Hopefully you can hear me and hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So, welcome to the live stream where I'm going to try and fix this abomination of an amplifier. So, I will just walk you through the setup we've got here. Now, got 3 different cameras, so you can see the action from 3 different angles. At the moment you're seeing the overhead cam, which is, if I switch to the side cam, if I switch to the... That's our overhead camera there, and that's our close-up camera there. So if I switch to this, you can see all the different angles from the cameras. Anyway, because we got 7 people watching already, so let's go on and do this. Let's try and fix this amplifier. Right, so everybody, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a recap on things. But first, I'm going to say hi to all the people watching. So, Arlen Moulton, Farmelman94, Wild Talent Gamer, Omni Engineering, and Elliot Hunt. Hi to all of you, and hi to anybody who joins in. So, this amplifier thing. In the previous video, I built up this amplifier, and I've built it up again pretty much how it was in that video. But it has a bit of a problem. Now, at the moment, it is on, alright, and it does work if I connect it up to this speaker. But if I connect, say, this speaker up, all hell breaks loose. So I'm going to try and figure out what the problem is. I've got a pretty good idea why it's not, why it's messing up, but just to show you that it is on and it is working, I've got it hooked up to my little Walkman here. So if I play a tape through it, better not play too much of that just in case of copyright. So anyway, you could probably hear that works. Now I'm going to connect up this loudspeaker, which is same impedance as this one. This one is a 4 ohms and this one is also a 4 ohms. So we're going to connect that up. I've got a little voltmeter here measuring one of the rails. So at the moment we're about powering it on about 8.1 volts. Well, 8.1 volts positive, 8.1 volts negative. Alright, I'm going to unplug the speaker. Now, at the moment it is drawing about 17 milliamps. So let's just disconnect this speaker. It shouldn't change. Right, let's just move that over to the side. Now I'm going to connect this speaker. It'll probably make a very unpleasant squealing noise, so I'm just warning you in advance. Of course, now I say that it probably won't, but when I connect this speaker, the current is going to almost likely shoot up because it will start oscillating. I'm only going to do this very briefly. Oh, would you look at that? It's actually... well, I don't believe this. It's actually behaving. Now, it wasn't doing that in the previous video, which is kind of weird. So, I'm not quite sure how that's doing that. Because if you watch the previous live stream, when I connected this speaker up, it started going absolutely haywire, but this time it's actually behaving itself. So, okay, I'm just going to connect the speaker up properly. I'll just twist this wire around and make sure we've actually got a connection here. Just see if that's going. Alright, well, it is working through this speaker. Well, it was working through the speaker until it disconnected. But the current did shoot up quite high. That shot up to about 700 milliamps, and it wasn't doing that with this speaker. So we definitely have some oscillation going on there. Now, just cut this wire to make sure that stays connected. I know it's very hard to see what's on the meter if I switch to the overhead cam. Might be able to see it there. Okay, Elliot Hunt says it might be because of the crossover in the speaker, and yeah, this speaker's this does have a crossover. After all, we've got woofer and separate woofer and tweeter. You know, it's not just one speaker. Alright, let's get that connected again. See what it does. Okay, let's see what our current is. Oh, it has gone up actually. Okay, our current has gone up to about 800 milliamps, which means that this amplifier is oscillating. So I'm going to connect my scope. I'm not going to leave it like that for too long because we don't want anything getting too hot, but I'm going to wire up my scope here. Oh, here it goes. Alright, I'm going to turn the voltage down just to keep things safe. Let's see, we're drawing about 500 milliamps. So let's just confirm that we have oscillation in our amplifier. Just find somewhere to stick my scope probe. Let's see, where is the speaker out? There it is. Okay. Apparently, according to my scope, there isn't any oscillation at all. It seems to have stopped. It might be the added capacitance of the scope probe causing that. Okay, let's just bring up the voltage till it starts oscillating. Let's see if we can get a closer look at that. Right, triggering is way off. Actually, we're only drawing about 21 milliamps at the moment, so it probably isn't oscillating. And I cannot find where my trigger is. I'll set that to 0. There we go. No, we definitely do have an oscillation. We're oscillating at about 1.2 megahertz. So I'm going to turn the voltage up just a little bit more. Well, it's not drawing much current, but it is oscillating. I've got a little experiment I want to try while it's doing this. I want to see, because this is oscillating at about 1.2 megahertz, which is in the AM radio range. I'm very curious as if that would actually transmit. So I've got a radio over here, which I'm just gonna switch over to AM. That's a nasty noise. Okay, try and find the approximate frequency, which... Oh, that's quite a... Oh, well, that's a quiet space on the radio dial. Just want to see if that actually comes out through the radio. Oh, we got huge oscillation. Well, I don't think it's picking up from the radio, that's for sure. How much current are we drawing? 7 milliamp. Do shut up. About 700 milliamps. Right, we'll just turn that right off. Okay, so I thought I had this tuned to the same frequency that this was oscillating at, but obviously I don't. That's just a quiet space on the radio dial. I'll just forget about that. Alright, so I've got some suspicions on why this is oscillating. Now, firstly, just look at all these wires, all these long wires, everywhere. I should have realised that when I was building this, because, let's just get the scope probe out of the way so we can see around a bit. So we've got the power coming in to these three terminals here, so we've got a positive, ground and a negative, and that's going all the way along these rails here into our power amp section, which you cannot really see, so I'll switch to the other camera. So they're going into this bit, and we've also got 5 wires connecting this part of the amplifier to this part. So we've got positive, negative, ground, we've got feedback wire, we've got the wire that carries the signal from the input stage to the voltage amplifier. It's a mess, really. So there's some things I'm going to try it now. Mr. Johnny suggests that I should put a 100 picofarad capacitor between the base and the emitter of, the base and collector of one of the transistors. So that's what I'm going to do. The Class A driver, which would be this transistor right here. So let's do that. Let's put a 100 picofarad capacitor across the base and collector of this transistor, and let's see if that makes any improvement. Now, I've just got to make sure I've got this the right way around. Let's see, base is that one there. Just trying to remember which wire is which. So that would be the base. That leg there would be the emitter. And we want the capacitor across the base and collector. So, I'm going to put a capacitor across the base and collector of the driver transistor, if I can get that in there. Hopefully that's across the base and collector. Right, so let's see what it does now. So I'm going to bring up the voltage. Okay, we'll bring up to about 5 volts. Okay, the current draw is about 10 milliamps. Let's just give the little player a play and see what happens. Okay, well that certainly sorted out a few things. Better not play too much of that just in case I get, you know, YouTube's copyright going all ape crazy all over me. But yeah, I was actually thinking about doing that capacitor in this video. But I might go a little bit further. I might actually put capacitors across the base and collector of the transistors in the output stage. And I want to move this differential amplifier much closer to here so we don't have all these wires going about all over the place. So, I'm kind of at a bit of a loss for things to do at the moment. Let's just raise the voltage a little more and see if it still behaves. Okay, the current draw is 20 milliamps. You know what? I'm going to get my tablet and play music from this because, you know, I'm just a little bit concerned about YouTube's copyright issues on the music I'm playing on that, so got some copyright-free music that I made on here, so yeah, use this as the music source. Okay, someone on here says, you don't have to be gay to watch this, but it helps. I really don't know what to say to that because, well, for one thing, I just want to clear up something. Okay, I am not gay. And I may act a little bit that way sometimes, but that's just me. I'm not at all interested in relationships, gay or straight actually. Okay, now this is finally booted up. We can use this as our music source. let's see how it behaves with this. Now I'm going to go into my add music. Now this might come on pretty loud, because when I plug the headphones in, this seems to default to absolute maximum loudness. I don't know why. And everything on this seems to have its own volume control. Make sure that's nice and low. Let's make sure that this is working. Well, that all seems to be pretty good. Okay, stop. Stupid thing will not stop playing. Okay. Don't understand this. I'm hitting the stop button, but it will not stop. Come on. Get it. There. That shut up. These things are ridiculous, I tell you. Well, I think it's about time we shrunk this down a bit, added in the appropriate filter capacitors, and even add a bootstrap to this thing. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to add the bootstrap, because when I start disassembling all this and putting that all over there, it's going to be a bit, cramped for space. So let's do that. Before I do anything else, I just want to show you the circuit so you know what I'm about to do. Now if I can find where I put the circuit. Just looking through some of my things here. I've probably put it in here within this slot somewhere. I don't know. It's kind of a stupid thing to do. Okay, here we go. So, this is the schematic of the amplifier. As you can see, or you would be able to see if this camera was focused. So what I want to do is I want to add a bootstrap to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this 1K resistor for two 470 ohm resistors. Did I call this a capacitor just a moment ago? I meant resistor. So I want to change this 1K resistor to two 470 ohm resistors, and I want to put a capacitor between where those two resistors connect, and connect that to the output, and that will be our bootstrap. I did make a little bit of a mistake on this schematic. I drew the arrow on this NPN transistor the wrong way around. That's supposed to be facing the other way, so just pretend it is. So let me just grab two. Got the 470 ohm resistors. What's this one? It's I think that's a 47 ohm. That's not going to do. Got loads of resistors with 47 on them. Do you think I can find the 470 ohm resistor that I'm looking for? Where is it? Resistors. Where did I put my resistors? So there's some knobs in here. We should be able to find a 470 ohm resistor in here. Right, so have we got any 470 ohm resistors in here? We don't, apparently. Okay, I'll check this one here. Ah, that looks like a 470 ohm. Let's take him out. No, I grabbed a 1K by mistake. I'm just going to pour these all out on the bed. Oh wait, I cannot turn my tripod around. Right, okay, here we go. Different camera shot. Just realised I'm real close to the microphone here, so sorry that just heard a lot of noise. I'll try to get my voice down because I'm right up close to the microphone. Just realised I was bellowing out. Oh, this microphone was in close proximity. Sorry if I ear raped anybody then. Now, is this a 47K? I mean, is this a 47 ohm or a 470 ohm? I cannot tell if that... Let's see, this is 4700, so that would be 470 ohm. This one is also 4700, so we have found our 470 ohm resistors we need. Right. So let's plug those in and yeah, we could have a bit of a problem here. Nope, it's better on the overhead cam. Okay. There's very little space between here and there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two resistors and I'm just going to twist the ends together like this and then plug the other ends into this thing. Sometimes the old ways are the best. Okay, we need a capacitor to feed into for our Bootstrap circuit, so I'm connecting this capacitor in between these two resistors. And there we are. There is our Bootstrap circuit. It's a little primitive, but should do the job. Although this thing doesn't really need bootstrapping because it works well enough without it, but in a test I did off video, this amplifier actually almost blew a speaker, so it's pretty good like that. I just got to remember where that resistor connected, which I think was right there. Now I just need to connect that to our output. Trying to see which wire that is. Yep, might be quite messy, but I think we're there. I think we're there with the Bootstrap. don't even know what's called that. Alright, so let's turn power on. Bring up the voltage. Make sure the circuit is behaving. Right, I'm just going to touch the input lead. All seems to be good. You can see the current increases when I do that. The speaker cone is moving quite considerably when I do that. So let's just plug this into our music source. And we'll play a different side of the tape. Okay, I've got no idea what this is. Sounds like they're saying Pika. But I am not a Pokemon fan. And for those of you who want to know what tape I'm playing, it's Legends of Soul. So, yeah, adding that little capacitor there certainly made a difference to the amplifier's performance. So, all I want to do now is move our differential stage, our differential input stage, over, reduce the length of these ridiculously long wires, and I'm going to call it a day for this amplifier. I almost don't want to take this apart because it's working so well now. Well, this was really only a temporary project. You know, just build it up, see if it works, and take it down again. Because I've still got some more ideas for things I want to do. Oh, pay no attention to the date on this camera. That's completely out. So, what shall we do first regarding the wires? Okay, make sure the power is off. Alright, so I'm going to take the differential stage down and move it over so it's much closer to that stage, even though it seems to be working pretty good now, but I think we can make this even better. Which is what I'm doing. So let's see, this is our that's our wire that goes to the voltage amplifier stage. This one is ground, this one is our feedback. Now this could be a little bit tricky because I've got right where this wire connects, where this ground wire connects, I need to connect my feedback resistor, and I don't want that to short out on the adjacent hole, so that's gonna be a bit tricky. I don't know if I can move that over. I know what I'll do. I'll just put a little bit of tubing around this resistor so that doesn't short out on that other wire, because we don't want that to happen. almost there. Just taking a little bit of this mains flex off. Alright, so let's plug that into that hole. Hopefully that will fit, make it so it doesn't short out. Yeah, I think we're going to be pretty safe. Right, what we got here? BC547B. Let's put him in. Got to try and remember how this goes now. So let's see, collect a bit. I think I've got that the wrong way around. I think this transistor goes that way round. Excuse me. Kind of regretting doing this now because it's just giving a few little complications that I wasn't really prepared for. Right. I don't know how I'm going to get the wires on here. Okay, so there's one side of our differential amplifier, our differential input stage. Okay, so we need to connect the emitters of these two transistors together. And of course I haven't left myself enough space on the breadboard in order to do that. Just realised you couldn't really see what I'm doing. No, actually we'll go to the other camera. No, that's even worse. Okay, let's just stick with the overhead cam. Now you might have noticed that the overhead cam is recording at the moment. Now it's not because I'm actually recording this for archive purposes, but the thing is, if I don't have this camera recording, it will shut itself off. So it has to record, and there is no way I can get rid of the on-screen display. Which is kind of stupid, but it's just how it is. Okay, so we want a 1K connecting the two emitters to our negative supply. And we need a 1K connecting the collector of this transistor to the positive supply. So I'll just stick that up there. Actually, I'll put that resistor in there since that's on the same thingamabob. I need to connect the base of this transistor to ground. I'm going to use this point here on the breadboard as my ground. You know, I think the older design where I had parts all over the place was probably better. It's more easier to service. Right, okay, I think we've got our little differential input stage built up. I will just put in an input resistor and capacitor onto the input stage. Just going over all my wires, making sure it's all good. Making sure that nothing is shorting out. I'm sweating like an absolute... Not because I'm nervous or anything. It's just a little bit hot in this room. Right. Let's get connected. So this is our ground, I believe. So let's connect that there. So the two ground. So this thing. So our output stage's ground is connected to our input stage's ground. And this is the negative supply, I believe. So just clip that wire short. You know, if anything, this is looking more of a mess than it was before. I'm sure something will go wrong when I turn this on. Now, was this our feedback or was this... No, that wire is the wire that connects the voltage amplifier stage. This wire is one of our power lines, so make sure that's nice and short. Make sure I don't cut into that resistor. I wish I just had some kind of magical button where I could just go, here is one I made earlier, but I don't. Right, so we've got the power connected. Make sure our ground is connected. Now I just need to connect the output of our input stage to the Class A driver or voltage amplifier or whatever you want to call it. And these short wires should perform really good. As long as nothing shorts out in the process. Right, I'm just going over this to just last minute check. Just to make sure that we haven't got any short circuits anywhere. Okay. It all looks good. So, oh, wrong camera. Going to turn the power on. And bring it up. Okay, so far so good. We're at about 5.3 volts and we're only drawing 11 milliamps. Okay, I'm going to touch the input, make sure that's doing its thing. Oh yeah. It's alive! It's alive! Right, I'm gonna put in some of my royalty-free music that I made. Of course, gotta wait for this to boot up again. I'll say one thing for these cheap tape players. You don't have to wait for them to boot up. I'm going to raise the voltage to about 12 volts, which is the voltage that I originally intended to run this on. Quiescent current has gone up to 41 milliamps, but that's well within what I'm comfortable with. Right, so for those of you who have just tuned in, I am breadboarding an amplifier that I've made, because I think some people have just tuned in and not exactly sure what I'm doing. So yeah, I've come up with this amplifier, this circuit here. Now I've slightly modified it from what you can see here. I've added a Bootstrap because I changed this resistor into two 470 ohm resistors, and then I put a capacitor between those two, connecting that there. But apart from that, it's exactly the same as what you see here. Just been trying to make the circuit more compact and fixing out all little oscillation problems that it had. So let's see how well this is working now. Put this into here. Let's go into my music. Hopefully it's not at full blast like it was a minute ago. Okay, it's about half volume, so let's just give this a listen, and I'm gonna call it a night. Oh wait, that's not one of mine. We're not hearing anything. Oh! You know why we're not hearing anything? Forgot to connect it up. Of course, I find things work a lot better when you actually connect them. Just trying to find a good ground point here. Here's one of our grounds, I think. Come on, get in there. And let's connect that here. Whoa. Okay, this thing decided to shoot up to full volume. Wasn't supposed to do that. It's not one of my songs playing at the moment, but let's just skip through this. Oh, there's one of the songs from one of my films. Okay, that was rather loud. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a day with this. It certainly appears to be working good now. Not getting any weird oscillations anymore. Now, I was gonna get these two capacitors here and put these across the base and collector of the output transistors, but well, actually not the output transistors. I mean across these two transistors here, but that doesn't seem to be needed anymore. Got a nice successful little amplifier here. Okay, let's just shush. That was a test file. Well, guess that's it for now. So, I just want to close by saying, hope you like the live stream and the new format that we're doing. Well, that I'm doing. You may have noticed that we've got... I don't know why I keep saying we when I mean I. I don't really need that one anymore because we're not using it. But anyway, so like I said, we've got the got the 3 camera system. So we've got this camera, and this camera, and this camera. The only problem with this camera is that it's widescreen, and I'm filming in 4:3, so it does get a little bit squashed when I use that camera. But you know, there's not much I can do about that. But that works pretty good, and you know, using the separate microphone rather than one of the camera's microphones, I think that seems to be working pretty good. And we've got the live chat on the side of the screen there. Hopefully you can see that. Anyway, I think that's about it for this live stream, and well, until next time, goodbye, because I've got a few other things to do now.